Welcome back to another episode of Knife of the Day. We have just a couple of things left from that original pile of knives that we started this series introduction off with. Let's take a look at this Gerber BMF. And you can say BMF stands for whatever you want. But back in the day, this was not too long after Rambo came out. This, to me, was the ultimate. So the saw was actually not that ultimate, but I had always planned on doing my own reverse alternating grind on it to make it a more effective saw. But aside from that, which is almost just visual on this knife, you definitely have quite a bit of blade. I used to sharpen this thing up, and it was pretty decent for cutting things. But unlike the Rambo knife, it's solid, so wasn't a hollow handle type thing. This foam stuff, even when I got it, I wasn't sure how well it was going to stand up. It's sort of like a foam. It's got some give to it, but it's held up great over the years. I used this thing a lot when I first got it. I got this thing in the 80s, saved up for it as a kid, and really it was not cheap. If I remember right, it was like almost $200, and that was no small thing. I had to talk the parents into letting me buy something this expensive, but I did try to use it as much as I could once I had it. I probably regretted it a lot since then. Even now, it's a big, heavy knife, so kind of pointless. I can imagine maybe a few circumstances where you might want something this big, but it is kind of obnoxious. The scabbard is half the reason it's so cool. When you're trying to think of yourself as like being self-sufficient, you've got the place here for the compass, I think is what comes in it. You've got a stone on the back here, which is nice, and it's a diamond stone, so it actually works pretty well. You've got this thing which allows you to both hold the pouch more secure, because you can kind of tag down the lip of the pouch. So now I actually keep a Swiss Army knife in there, but this way you could also strap something on here, so maybe another knife or a multi-tool or something that would fit on your belt. You could flip it through here, have that scabbard on here, so this thing lets you kind of carry more than one item. Again, remember, this was the 80s, before we had really anything. We were still using Alice, for crying out loud. So this was when we didn't have anything like Molly or anything attachments. This was really cool. So you have the one fairly decent connector, unlike a lot of the garbage that just barely holds the knife in. But what really held the knife in on this guy was the blade. It's a long blade, so it ain't falling out of here unless you're pulling a Rambo jumping off a cliff or something. On the back, again, Alice, because that's what was around back then. This is polymer, and that was kind of a step. I thought that was a step forward from the leather that we would have seen, back at that time. So at the time, this thing was really cool. You can see I've got the original paracord on there. I never took that off, but the idea was to tie that around your leg, I guess. I never did it that way. But this thing's seen all kinds of just adventures and things. I carried this thing around. Again, I kind of felt obligated because I paid so much money for it. But it's a cool knife, and I still have it. I might actually consider selling it. It's not in the best shape, but there might be somebody out there who wants to remember these kind of things from the back of magazines and stuff. They definitely advertise these a lot. So let us know if you remember the Gerber BMF, if you had one, or if which model you had. There was a couple of different size blades, and there was the with or without saw teeth. So we'll be watching the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.